for sure. What do you remember most about appearing on Rap City with the mayor?
Oh man, he is funny. Chris Thomas, man, I wonder is he still alive? I,
Yeah, he's still around.
I just remember, he was a funny guy. I thought he was good, but the only imitation I thought he was really good at doing was Bill Cosby. But he would do all these other guys, and I said, it's not that good. But whenever he did Bill Cosby back then, I don't think he would do it now. Uh, he was pretty funny. But we were actually, I was one of our groups was High Performance, and they're from Tacoma. I believe it was them. We actually were on one of the first episodes of Rap City on BET. And at that time, they were located in Washington, D.C., in that area. I remember that. And that's how I met Chris Thomas, the mayor. A real nice guy, man. I always wondered what happened to that guy. Great guy,
Right, no doubt. About a year later, you guys dropped Seminar. What was the recording process like going from album number one to album number two?
well, like I said, that's the mix lot question. He's the man in the studio. He would just give me songs that he plans on putting on the next album, and he would uh, ask me to test it on my radio show. So I think off the Seminar album, I think the songs that really made a lot of noise when I played it on my show were two of them were my Hoopty and Beepers. Especially Beepers for sure because that was during an age when we started using pagers, and I don't know if you remember the song Beepers, but it was about calling Sky Pager. But back then to get a page, you had to call this 1-800 number and page it, and they'll page you, and it became really popular. So it made Beepers popular. And then we had a song called My Hoopty because everybody, even myself, we all started out driving a hoopty, and people could relate to the hoopty, especially cats that drive hoopties, but they have like real gold rims on it, but everything else is like a hoopty.
Right. Kid Sensation was also part of the posse. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with him?
Yeah, when I first met him, he was the guy that carried Mix-a-Lot's equipment and records, and that's how I first remember meeting Kid was him doing that. And when I decided to leave the group and kind of like pursue more of my own career, we needed someone to replace me. Uh, so there were a couple of people in mind, and Kid Sensation was one of the ones who kind of took the slack off from me and got on stage. And but I do remember spending a lot of time on the road with him. All the women loved Kid Sensation. He lived up to his name, the Teenage Lady Killer. And yeah, I'm really proud of that guy. He was the straight guy out of everybody in the group. He was the straight guy. He always was very polite, worked out, didn't smoke weed, didn't drink. Man, and he was one of the first guys I ever knew at such a young age that knew how to beatbox. Because if you listen to Square Dance Rap, on the beatbox part, I think he was only like 13 years old when he did that. That's him doing the beatbox. Because back then, not many people knew how to beatbox, but he did.
Right. At what point do you guys sign him to the label?
Who, Kid Sensation?
Yeah.
I think after he did the song with Mix-a-Lot on the Seminar album called Rippin', we noticed, a lot of people when because him too. I would play his songs on my radio show, and that's how I knew we had something there. I would test it, and it would do really well on my show. And yeah, so I think after he was doing songs on Mix-a-Lot's album, beatboxing on Rip on Square Dance Rap, and when he actually spit his lines on the song called Rippin', that's when I knew this guy was gifted. And he still does this thing. He still does shows and stuff.
Right. Did you have any involvement with any of his albums?
Yeah, I was the guy who promoted it to radio, made sure people played it. And, yeah, and we used to go on the road together and make sure I wasn't his manager or anything like that, but we would go on the road together. And while he performed, I would take him to the radio stations or video shows and introduce him to people like you. and yeah, it was great. It's really weird because I remember him when he was just a young 13-year-old kid. Really quiet, silent. To to now, man, he's in control. He's doing his own thing, making his money, and yeah, really proud to see someone like him uh, do really well in life.
Right. Who are some of the other acts that you signed to Nasty Mix? I know there was Criminal Nation. Was there any other groups?
Yeah, we had Criminal Nation. Who else did we have? Other groups. A guy by the name of Mario. We had other groups that I didn't sign, but they were signed to the label. Um, that weren't even hip hop related. Like a rock group called The Accused. Um, who else? Kind of a dance group called Four Way. Uh, I just pretty much focused on the rap stuff. But one of the ones I really liked a lot was with the legendary Whiz Kid, who's on Play That Beat, Mr. DJ.
Hmm.
Uh, he was he I think we put out two singles with him on it, but the main guy rapping on it was a guy by the name of YSL, which stood for You Should Listen, and we became really close friends. And then I just remember when Wizkid passed away, that was a sad moment, because he just got signed, and so we were able to put I think two 12-inch singles out, but never got a chance to do an album. But he was such a humble, nice guy.
Right. What eventually happened to Nasty Mix, the label?
It closed down in 1992. Um, you know, uh, Mixlot ended up jumping to Deaf American Records with Rick Rubin, and Ed Lock really tried to keep us alive and keep us floating above water with these other groups that he signed. But things just I guess didn't work out, and it was time to close its doors. And man, I was like, man, what am I gonna do? Who am I going to promote now? And I guess I made such an impact with what I did in Astomix that all the record labels heard wind that I was a free agent, so everyone was trying to hire me to promote their records, and I still do that here in 2023. Almost 40 years later. Well, yeah, it's 40 years later. I still promote records to radio, and yeah, I'm still keeping hip hop alive through my website, rapattacklives.com. Yeah, I'm really blessed to still be doing it. It's like I don't know. I don't when people say, "Man, you're gonna retire," I don't think so. That'd be so boring retiring. What am I gonna do? Just watch Judge Mathis shows every day. You know,
Right.
although I do love Judge Mathis, but I like Judge Judy better.
Right. Exactly. At what point does Cold Rock Records come into play?
Yeah, that was when we signed artists from Portland, Oregon, DJ Vitamix, and that's when I got the deal originally with Profile Records, and
Okay.
that had nothing to do with Nasty Mix. Um, that kind of came and gone, but it was kind of neat to see someone out of Portland, that we put on the map, and it's great because we still keep in touch to this day. And yeah, DJ Vitamix was his name, and he was a really good DJ and an MC too. But his single made a little bit of noise. But I just thought because it was on Profile Records that we'll go gold and I'll become a millionaire. But it didn't happen. But that's okay. we,
Right.
we we learned. We learned. Mhm.
Right. A cool fun fact about Nasty Nez that you appeared on Easy E's radio. Can you take us back to your relationship with Arabian Prince and how that led up to appearing on that album?
You know one thing about you, Clarence, you did your homework. I can tell.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no, really. I love it when people that interview me, you know, know the story, which is really great. With Easy E and NWA, we know when I was telling you we did that the Fresh Festival show in London with the
Hmm.
Wrecking Crew. Well, the Wrecking Crew was Dr. Dre, DJ Yella, um, and that's how I knew Arabian Prince was my affiliation with those guys. Actually, Arabian Prince's dad and I were really good friends. His dad worked at a trade magazine, who called me every week to get my playlist, and So I met Arabian. I got a chance to talk to Arabian Prince, and he knew I was the guy to break new music on the radio in Seattle. So it was through him where he told me about this group called NWA, and then he told me what it stood for, and I said, "Man, I can't say their name on the radio." He goes, "Yeah, that's why you just call them NWA." And so he gave me a a test pressing of their stuff, and what I did was I went in the studio and on a reel to reel had to edit the songs so I could play it on my show. And man, I tell you, when the first time I played NWA, the request line just lit off the hook. Um, that's how the relationship started. I was actually one of the first DJs out of LA to play NWA and Easy E on the radio. But I had to do my work too and edit the songs. I feel a DJ, if they really want to play something, you know, you know, edit their own edit the material themselves, so they can play it. And I would do that. But back then we didn't have Serato or computers. You had to go on the reel to reel, cut and splice, do all the work. But I loved what I did so much that I didn't mind putting in the work. Just so I could be the first one to play, and they all remembered that. And that's when Raven Prince said, "We got this guy Easy E, and how'd you like to be on his first single?" And I said, "Yeah, what do you want me to do?" He goes, he told me what he wanted me to do on the record, but I told him that we just got a tour now with Public Enemy and I think EPMD with Mix-a-Lot, and I don't think I have time to do it. I'll be on the road a lot. And then so he said, "Well, we really want you on the record, so why don't you do this? If you're when you're in your hotel room, I'm going to give you a number to call. You call the number, and you got to say these lines." And it was only like two, three lines from the song Radio. I go, "You sure that's all you want me to do?" He goes, "Yeah, just read those lines, pretend like you're talking to someone, and we're going to record it, and then we're going to put it on the song, on the record." I said, "Oh man, this is going to be a flop." But it ended up becoming probably the most popular part of the song was the very ending, where I'm on there saying, "Hey, it's Nasty Ness calling from Seattle," asking to be on Easy E's new record Radio. And that was all done off of an answering machine. I just left the message on the phone. And then, so if you hear it now, it sounds like I'm talking to Dr. Dre, who's like a legendary billionaire guy now. And
Right.
it's so neat when you think about it, like, wow, man, that's me on there. And then plus I said I'm from Seattle. So everybody in Seattle goes, "Yeah, he said Seattle, putting us on the map. So that was so memorable, man. And I wish I was so young back then. I wish I would have known about getting points and royalties off a single. If I would have signed something and worked out a deal, yeah, I could, I could probably buy you a Rolls Royce right now, man. But I
Right.
didn't, so I'm sorry. You just have to. I'll send you a picture of a Rolls Royce.
That'll work as well.